Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is February 13th. Justin Verlander to the Tigers, plus more. Spring is here. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? That is right. Spring is here. Pitchers and catchers have reported, as well as many of these different players. We're seeing new faces in new places. We're seeing the same faces, I should say, in new places. It's very exciting, and we've got, let me tell you, a slew of things to talk about in today's episode. We're not going to be able to go through everything in detail because if we did, we're looking probably at close to 2 hours. But let's dive into it. I picked out the best news to go over first. And we're talking about Justin Verlander first. He is signing with the Detroit Tigers for $13 million. There is deferrals in the contract. This is the most exciting thing for me that has come out this week. Of course, if you don't know, Justin Verlander, Cy Young winner with the Astros. He was on the Mets recently. He was on the Giants last year. All of this amazing Justin Verlander stuff started when he was in Detroit. That is right. When you look at the career of Justin Verlander, you start all the way back in 2005 when he was with the Detroit Tigers, and he accomplished so much there as a member of the Tigers and stayed with them up until 2017. Yes, that's right. He went from 22 years old in 2005 all the way to 34 in 2017 when he was traded to the Astros that year and won his first World Series with the Astros. He stayed with Houston all the way up until 2022, and since then was traded to the Mets, moved to the Mets, then back to Houston that same year, stayed with them again in 2024 before moving over to the Giants in 2025. He is now going to be 43 years old and entering his 21st season in the big leagues, and I gotta be honest, with him signed by Detroit, this is most likely going to be the last year we see Justin Verlander pitch in Major League Baseball, unless he goes out and pitches really well. That's the only thing that I can see kind of still happening for Verlander to kind of not save his career, but to add on that extra year. Of course, if you do not know Justin Verlander, he won the Rookie of the Year voting in 2006. That was his first full year, official year in the big leagues. From there, he's got 3 Cy Young winners, an MVP to boot, including that Triple Crown. He's a 2-time World Series winner, the ALCS MVP, and a 2 times ERA title. He was on some very good Detroit teams. That 2011 season is the one that stands out. That is his MVP, Triple Crown, Cy Young year. He had 251 innings that year with 2.4 ERA. It was very impressive. He also won 24 games and had a career high WAR 8.6. That was kind of a career year for him in general. Those years with Houston as well were very good, especially in 2019 where he won his second Cy Young. Yeah, he won his first in 2011. 8 years later, won his second. If you remember, he did not pitch in 2021. He was down with Tommy John surgery. Came back in 2022 and went to work. 28 games, 175 innings. He was 18-4 and had a 1.75 ERA, the lowest of his career, which earned him his 3rd Cy Young after Tommy John. That was very impressive. But like I said, he's a 9-time All-Star. Like, he's been around. His numbers are just so pretty to look at. Definitely a future first-round ballot Hall of Famer. 20 years, 82.2 WAR. He's got 266 wins across 555 games, all of which have been starts, a 3.32 ERA. He has over 3,000 strikeouts. He's at 3,553. Absolutely incredible stuff. If you take a look at his Detroit numbers alone, the 13 years he spent with the Tigers, 56.6 WAR, 183 wins, a 3.49 ERA in 380 games, 2,511 innings where he's picked up 2,373 strikeouts. His strikeout game has definitely improved in more recent years after leaving the Tigers. But again, you look at his game starts with the Tigers. I mean, even in general, he is more than not a healthy pitcher outside of his one Tommy John surgery and some recent things here as he's entered his 40s. But I mean, 30, 32, 33, 35, 33, 34, 33, 34. Like he's made every damn start. 20 starts was his lowest in 2015 before 2020 when he only made just one start, but it was a COVID year. That was a Tommy John, the start of that. Very weird stuff. 2021 did not play. Came back 28 games, 27 games, and then 17 games in 2014. That is his technical lowest amount of games that he's ever played in one season outside of COVID year, which is the 1 year, but still an absolutely stellar career, and he's going back to the Tigers where it all started. If you're a Tigers fan, you must absolutely love this. I don't care if he's god-awful. I mean, he wasn't bad last year with the Giants. Definitely couldn't win a game to save his life, but that wasn't all on him. His team wasn't really contributing on his best starts. But yeah, he is a phenomenal pitcher. Tigers fans are more than happy to have him back. I'm happy for him to be back. And again, like I said, it does really seem like a goodbye send-off, but he hasn't announced anything yet, so you never know for sure. Let's move on here with another high-class pitcher here, Chriss Bassitt, signing a one-year deal with the Baltimore Orioles. It's an $18.5 million deal. Honestly, a lot more than I thought Bassitt was going to get, but after watching him from so many years, I can say it is deservedly a healthy contract for Chriss Bassitt. Of course, the one-time All-Star got that nod in 2021 with the Oakland Athletics. He made his debut with the White Sox in 2014, stayed with Oakland all the way up until that All-Star year in 2021, which was a walk year for him. He ends up going, not walk year, sorry, that was his last year of his deal. He got traded to the Mets that year for 2022, where he pitched really well once again. So in that year with the Mets, he then signed a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays. And I got to say, those last 3 years have been phenomenal to watch him pitch. In his time with the Blue Jays, 541 innings were lodged. He, was just absolutely stellar to watch across 96 games, a 3.89 ERA, 4.6 WAR. You add that to his 11-year career. He's got a 3.64 ERA, 232 games with 218 starts. He's got over 1,000 strikeouts, close to 20 WAR. He is a really good pitcher, has been. And yeah, happy for Baltimore. Again, I think it is a little bit more than I thought he was going to get. There's not much to his award sheet besides that one All-Star. He's got 3 finishes in the top 10 for Cy Young, but nothing, top 5 or even close to that. But again, he's consistent. He is a dog. He will go out there and he will eat up innings as well. He's got 170 innings plus lodged in the last 4 years, going all the way back to 2022. Which, I mean, I used to be like, oh, if you can get to 200 innings, you're pitching well. These days, with the way bullpens get used and the way pitchers get used, I would say anything above 170, you're happy with. And again, last 4 years, his starts, 30, 33, 31, 32. He goes out there, he's healthy, he pitches well, he's got a nice curveball. He checks off all the boxes for what a really good pitcher has. And honestly, Baltimore as a whole isn't any team that I say, oh, wow, they don't need a guy like Bassitt. This is exactly the guy Baltimore needs, and if anything, more. I think he'll slide in nicely into that third role, kind of behind Trevor Rogers, maybe Kyle Bradish as well, just because of the team loyalty. Obviously, Bradish has been there a lot longer than Bassitt has, but honestly, If I was going to take one of these guys right now, looking at the O's projected starting rotation in a do or die game, Chriss Bassitt might be at the top of my list. We'll have to see how Trevor Rogers pitchers start in the year. I'd expect him to be the opening day starter unless anything goes wrong, like an injury or anything. But he pitched really well down the stretch last year. But we've seen him pitch really well with the Marlins as well before in the past, but then had a really rough stretch afterwards. Is he figured it out? Is he a really good pitcher? Or is he just kind of this rough stretch guy that kind of has these like breakthrough moments? That's what we'll have to see. But yeah, Chriss Bassitt, really good for him. Very happy for him getting the bag and, staying in the AL East. It'll be fun to see him still in a couple of games this year, potentially. Moving on here, the Red Sox and the Brewers have made a trade, and it is a big one. The Brewers are acquiring Kyle Harrison, David Hamilton, and Shane Drohan, left-handed pitcher, from the Red Sox. In exchange, the Red Sox are acquiring Caleb Durbin, Andrew Monasterio, and second baseman Anthony Siegler, as well as a competitive B pick. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know what the Brewers are smoking. Honestly, they do this every time. They're like the Rays of the NL. I just can't comprehend it sometimes. I don't get it. We're going to stay on this Brewers side for a second. The Brewers had 4 players get votes in the Rookie of the Year last year. Jacob Misiorowski, Chad Patrick, 2 of their pitchers, Isaac Collins, and Caleb Durbin. If you remember earlier in this offseason, I know it's been a while, but the Brewers already traded Isaac Collins, who finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting. People were calling it a crazy move by the Brewers. But there were some people out there saying, well, at least they kept Durbin instead of Collins because they're very similar players, very similar mindsets, and very similar numbers that they had this year. Caleb Durbin actually finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, just ahead of his teammate Isaac Collins. And now Caleb Durbin finishes 3rd, is now shipped off to Boston in exchange for a guy who was already traded for by the Red Sox this year. I mean, I just can't comprehend that. I cannot. Caleb Durbin this year finishing 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, as mentioned, at the age of 25. 136 games, he had 2.8 WAR, 114 hits, 11 home runs, a 256 batting average, and a 721 OPS. In his first year, that is very good. That is very solid numbers. I mean, Caleb Durbin, I'd expect him to get better. I mean, his numbers don't eye-pop as like a rookie eye-popping numbers where, the second year, the only way that you can progress is backwards. We've seen that in guys like Corbin Carroll, among other names as well in recent times here. But again, I just don't understand trading away these guys. Like, did you really need that pitching depth? I mean, yeah, I'm not loving the Brewers' starting rotation right now, but the thing is, it's going to work for them anyways. But a guy like Kyle Harrison, who, remember, was a top prospect with the Giants, he was the big name kind of that went to the Red Sox in the Rafael Devers trade, and now you've shipped him off to the Brewers after half a season where he made 3 starts, by the way, 12 innings, 2 starts, 12 innings, 14 hits, 4 earned runs, 13 strikeouts, and a 3 ERA. I don't understand it. I don't, because Kyle Harrison, his numbers as a whole aren't great. His time with the Giants, when he was pitching, wasn't anything fantastic. His kind of big year was last year in 2024. He made 24 starts that year, a 4.56 ERA. And I mean, yes, 3 years in the big leagues, you want to have a bit of a better ERA than a 4.4. He's only only played in 42 games, less than 200 innings lodged. If a team was going to tap into that, it's a team like the Rays, a team like the Brewers. So I understand the Brewers wanting to get that, take the chance on him. But I feel like Caleb Durbin overall will have the better career than Harrison. I feel like when we talk about this trade in 5-10 years' time, we're going to be talking about how the Red Sox had a really good trade and kind of fleeced the Brewers here. I mean, they're also getting Andrew Monasterio, who, a young guy in his own right. A young guy. He's going to be 29 this year, but he's only had 3 years in the league, all with the Brewers. playing in 219 games, 133 hits, 672 OPS, 250 batting average. He's got some speed. He has got a nice little glove. Hasn't really figured out the whole bat speed of things yet. Not sure if he will. In replace of Monasterio, the Brewers did pick up David Hamilton, who is very similar to Andrew Monasterio, except maybe a little bit better overall. In his 3-year stint with the Red Sox here, debuting same year as Monasterio in 2023, he has a 3.5 WAR, 112 hits, has a 2.22 batting average, a 642 OPS. Definitely the better defender between the two. Definitely the better speed guy. I mean, he had 33 stolen bases in 2024, 22 stolen bases with the Red Sox last year. I think he's going to have maybe 40 plus if the Brewers really want him to be running, depending on how much playing time he gets. That 2024 year was very impressive for Hamilton, but last year, kind of another step backwards. We'll see how he'll progress. The other guys in this deal, rookies. But yeah, I mean, when you kind of just take away the comp B pick, take away the two rookies at the end, when you go Kyle Harrison and David Hamilton for Caleb Durbin and Andrew Monasterio, I mean, Durbin is easily the best player out of these four. I don't know where I'd rank the other three. I mean, I would rank David Hamilton ahead of Monasterio just off of the last 3 years, which is their entire careers. But where would I put Harrison in that mix? Would I go Durbin, Harrison, Hamilton? Would I go Durbin, Hamilton, Harris? Would I go Durbin, Hamilton, Monasterio? I don't know. I think it's crazy that the Brewers traded away their Rookie of the Year finalists who finished third and fourth. I mean, that's just me, but, well, it's not just me. A lot of people are saying this, but I digress. That is the deal there. Let's continue on here because, like I said, there's plenty of stuff to talk about. Marcell Ozuna is the next player to talk about. No longer Marcell Ozuna from the Braves. He is now Marcell Ozuna from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hello, Buccos. What are we doing? Signing a 1-year, $12 million deal with the Pirates. This is the kind of stuff I love to see these teams do that we haven't seen for a long time. I got to be honest, I'm kind of happy with the Pirates offseason. Same for the White Sox. I mean, we'll get into those, things down the stretch here as we get ready for the season when we do our DOPs and everything. But these are the kind of moves I'm like, why not? When you have these guys sitting in the free agency for so long, you can probably get them at a cheaper price tag. And obviously, 12 million is still a pretty hefty amount, especially for a team like the Pirates in recent years. I'm not saying Marcell Ozuna is going to make the Pirates a team that can compete for the division. We don't know what the Pirates are going to look like in 2026 yet. What we do know is that Ozuna is a 3-time All-Star. He's got 2 Silver Sluggers and a Gold Glove. And obviously, the Gold Glove is well years removed during his time with Miami. He's had some impressive years with, obviously, the Marlins where he got his start. A couple, years with the Cardinals where he was good, and then recently has been with the Braves. He debuted back in 2013 with Miami, 5 years with the Marlins. Had a 2-year stint in St. Louis in 2018 and 19, and just before COVID hit, signed with the Braves, and has been with them the last 6 years, signing extensions here and there. And in that time has 1 All-Star. Yeah, his 2 All-Stars are with Miami and then 1 All-Star with the Braves. He's got a Silver Slugger with Miami, 1 with the Braves. He's had very good years. His 2024 year, which was just 2 years ago, was very good. It was his first time ever playing in all 162 games. He had 183 hits, hit 39 home runs, which is 1 less than he hit in 2023, which is his career high of 40. He had a 302 batting average and 925 OPS, finished 4th in MVP voting. Very incredible year. Last year, at the age of 34, definitely had a bit of a down year, 145 games. That 4.3 WAR in 2024 became 1.6 in 2025. His batting average went from 302 to a 232. His OPS went from 925 to 756. And he was somewhat healthy for most of the season. Had a small IL stint, played in 145 games. But yeah, just overall numbers took a dip. Only hit 21 home runs, 68 RBIs. Obviously, a factor could have been the Braves team just not being the best Braves team. Obviously, they were dealing with a lot of injuries. Ozuna was one of those healthy spots, but again, hard to kind of be the guy that drives in all these runs and has all these production when there was no lineup protection, really. A lot of guys were going to pitch around Ozuna. He had a career high 94 walks. He was definitely one of the big mashers for this Braves team. Because there was no Acuna, there was no Riley. There was a lot of players missing from this Braves lineup, which made it easier to go after a guy like Marcell Ozuna, who, on a typical Braves team that we had seen recently, is more of the fifth guy that you think of. Like, he's kind of the afterthought of a really good Braves team. He's obviously going to be a big staple for the Pirates. He's going to be a big reason if the Pirates do well this year. He'll be kind of leading a charge at some point. So for the Pittsburgh, I think it's great that you're bringing on guys to help, your core and your depth, guys like Paul Skeens, obviously. For Ozuna, hey, you get a shot still. I mean, we're getting to the end of the offseason. There's still helpful players who are unsigned. At least you don't have to worry about this. You can get ready, and PNC is a beautiful ballpark. A lot of check marks here. Love this for Pittsburgh. Love it for the Pirates, and obviously love it for Ozuna as well. Moving on here, let's go over Nick Martinez signing with the Tampa Bay Rays. Gotta be honest, this is kind of just one of those moves that kind of makes sense. Again, Rays, very good with pitchers. It's a 1-year, $13 million deal guaranteed here. He's got a $9 million salary. There's a $20 million mutual option for 2027 with a $4 million buyout. So basically, view this as a 1-year, $13 million deal because he'll get paid $9 million this year, and then the Rays will buy him out at $4 million. I don't know where this $20 million mutual option is. Unless Nick Martinez wins a Cy Young this year, I don't know what in the world would get the Rays to take a $20 million mutual option for a guy who's been 8 years in the league and has never shown anything despite of just some consistent, decent starts. I mean, his time, of course, he was with Texas when he first came and broke into the league in 2014. After 2 really rough years in 16 and 17, spent 4 years in Japan before getting a deal back to come back into Major League Baseball. What did I say? A deal to come back to come back? I have no idea what I'm thinking. Spent 2 years with the Padres where he put up nice numbers. I gotta say, we're pretty good overall, kind of out of the pen mostly. But then got a chance to be a starter with the Reds. Kind of took up that opportunity. In 2024, played really well. A 3.10 ERA, 42 games, 16 starts, and a 3.1 ERA. So much so that the Reds offered him a qualifying offer, which he kind of honestly smartly took. And took it into 2025, where again, pitched pretty well. Not as well as he did in 2024, but still impressive as he played in 40 games, making 26 starts. His ERA rose to 4.45, but some of that was just unlucky, to be honest with you. He had an 11-14 win-loss record, a 2.3 WAR. Overall, still, even with the 4.45 ERA, off of WAR standards and the way he was pitching, it was still his second best year of his career, realistically. His 2 years with Cincinnati, these last 2 years, have been the best 2 years of his career overall. When you look at his time in Texas, look at his time in San Diego, these 2 years with the Reds have been phenomenal. And now he's going to Tampa Bay, where they turn pitchers into really good pitchers. They have this way of doing things here. So yeah, I'd be worried to see what Nick Martinez is going to do for Tampa. He's going to be one of those sneaky guys who I think, maybe he gets Cy Young votes. Maybe this is his year. Maybe he's going to be an all-star for Tampa Bay. I mean, there's definitely signs that can point in the right direction for him, for Tampa. The only thing that goes against them is obviously being the Rays in the AL East division, where you have to deal with Gunnar Henderson and Aaron Judge and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and etc. and Roman Anthony and guys from the Red Sox and Blue Jays and Yankees. It's definitely not ideal, but it'll be interesting to see if Nick Martinez can get through the AL East. I mean, maybe he has a really good year. So we'll see about that. That's kind of all the guys I want to give little shout outs to and actually kind of talk about their careers just a little bit here. But there was still a slew, and yes, I absolutely mean slew of guys that picked up 1-year deals here. So we're just going to kind of spitfire through some of these here. Paul Goldschmidt has re-signed with the Yankees. It's a 1-year, $4 million deal. MJ Melendez is signing a 1-year, $1.5 with the Mets. Eric Fetty, 1 year with the White Sox at $1.5 million. Chris Paddock with the Marlins for $4 million. Jonah Heim with the Braves for $1.25 million. Jose Quintana with the Rockies for $6 million. Jordan Montgomery finds his way back with the Rangers for $1.25 million. Not sure how, but Miles Mikolas found himself a job with the Nationals, $2.25, which is the most surprising move because he has been god-awful recently. Kike Hernandez, of course, re-signs with the Dodgers. No surprise there, $4.5 million there. Aaron Savali going to the Athletics for $6 million, bro. Could be a star on that staff there because who else is there? Gary Sanchez finds himself back with the Brewers, $1.75 million. Evan Phillips with the Dodgers for $6.5 million. And a couple minor leagues here to be interested on. Chris Taylor re-signing with the Angels, but on a minor league deal. And the Twins signing Gio Urshela and Liam Hendricks, both on minor league deals. But honestly, I could see both of them being on the Twins team because, again, who does Minnesota have? I have no idea. So those were the rest of the 1-year deals that were signed over this week. Lots of notable names, lots of important guys, but nothing worth spending more than what we're spending on them now for because of how much is still left to talk about. We're like halfway through here. This morning, the Blue Jays and the Astros made a little bit of an outfielder swap here. The Blue Jays are sending Joey Loperfido back to Houston in exchange for Jesus Sanchez. So kind of a 1-for-1 swap here. We'll look at Loperfido first quickly. Of course, the Blue Jays originally acquired him when he was with Houston. The Blue Jays sent Yusei Kikuchi to the Astros in exchange, got back Loperfido and 2 other prospects as well. Jesus Sanchez was the guy that the Astros acquired last year at the deadline after spending his whole career with the Miami Marlins. Loperfido debuted with the Astros in 2014. Of course, had some good numbers there, was traded to the Blue Jays. Last year, didn't get into too many games, 41 games, 32 hits. He had 4 home runs, a .333 batting average, an .879 OPS. So when he was playing, when he was batting, he was doing a really good job of it. And I gotta say, I think Loperfido is going to be a really good ball player. It's sad to see him go from the Blue Jays because, like I said, I think he could have had that potential. I think he does have that. But right now, I think there's just too many outfielders around the Jays right now that he wouldn't be getting into so much time and probably wouldn't even make the major league roster. And I think the Astros will have a better chance at using him and kind of tapping into some talent again. So he finds himself back on the Astros. Meanwhile, Jesus Sanchez, on the other hand, we know what his MO is. We've seen it with the Miami Marlins. This guy can rake. He will hit some homers. He has a career high of 18 in 2024 in total since COVID, which is when he debuted in 2020. He has 73 home runs, hit 69 of them with the Marlins. Only hit 4 home runs in the 48 games that he played with the Astros when he came over. Really struggled, but you're going from the heat of Miami to the heat of Texas and Houston. Maybe there's a difference. I don't really know. Now he's going up north to the cold side on Canada here. I gotta say, you look at his numbers against right-handed pitching, he is going to still be a problem. Against left-handed pitching, he is the biggest liability there could be. So, with the Jays, with the way they play their lineup, what we saw last year, we could see a lot of platooning options here from Jesus Sanchez, a lot of pinch hit appearances against right-handed pitchers. Obviously they have Varsho, who is in center field, Springer, DHing and everything, Barger, left-handed bat. So I'm not sure exactly how easily he'll be able to fill into this Jays lineup. Again, we're not sure even how easy it will be for him to maybe make the team, I gotta be honest with you. I was thinking about it earlier because, as a Jays fan, think about my team a little bit. the Jays kind of have, unless there's any injuries that happen throughout the spring, they kind of have their guys locked in already. I feel like out of the 26 guys that will break camp, um, 24 spots you can already kind of pencil in, check mark, done and dusted. Where he's going to fit in, probably just in left field for now, while Santander is back on the IL. We'll be talking about that shortly here. I'm not sure because, like I said, when you think of the outfield, you think of Barger, who is a left-handed bat. You think of Varsho, who is a left-handed bat. You think of Lucas, who is a left-handed bat. So, I mean, you're adding a fourth left-handed outfielder bat. But then again, Loperfido was also left-handed. So it doesn't really matter in that sense. Just a kind of quick one-for-one swap here between Sanchez and Loperfido, the Blue Jays, and the Astros. Yeah, carrying on here, we did mention at the beginning of the episode, but it is pitchers and catchers report. We are in the spring, which means there's a lot of good things happening, including baseball games. That's right, baseball games will be happening soon. You're seeing a bunch of guys doing their bullpens and doing all this stuff, but we've also seen guys and teams come out about guys who are injured already entering the year, guys who have that stuff here. So we're going to talk about a couple of those injuries that have already been announced and what it means for some teams and some players maybe even. A lot of guys fell onto the 60-day IL. Tanner Houck already back on the 60-day IL. Kai Busch from the White Sox. Jackson Jobe, Reese Olson, both from the Tigers. Alec Marsh from the Royals. Clark Schmidt from the Yankees. Manuel Rodriguez from the Rays. Andrew Salfrank from the Diamondbacks, Joe Jimenez from the Braves, Spencer Schwellenbach also from the Braves. He's one of the big ones to have been listed here. Chris Bryant from the Rockies again, Ronnie Henriquez from the Marlins, Evan Phillips from the Dodgers, who they just re-signed. He's automatically there. DJ Hurst and Trevor Williams from the Nationals, Taylor McGill and Reed Garrett from the Mets, Jared Jones from the Pirates, Randy Rodriguez from the Giants. All of these guys in the last 2 days have already been placed on the 60-day IL, but they're not alone here. There's some other notable names here that have already been listed with injuries and questionable stuff. One of them, as we mentioned, Anthony Santander. He's apparently going to be missing 5 to 6 months with a left labral surgery, which kind of sucks for him, but also sucks for the Blue Jays, obviously. He had a really tough first year on his deal with the Blue Jays here. And, people were very excited about the rebound that he could be having. He missed a lot of time last year, and now he's missing again maybe most of the whole season again this year. Not a great look, but, maybe that's why the Blue Jays wanted to grab Jesus Sanchez, a guy who's a little bit more major league ready than Loperfido, I guess. So yeah, that's the deal there. Jackson Holliday with Baltimore. He's going to need surgery for a broken hamate bone in his right hand. It was announced that he will not be ready for opening day. We got a lot of hamate bone injuries, including Corbin Carroll, who will miss time after suffering a broken hamate bone. He will be out of the World Baseball Classic, obviously. And then Francisco Lindor will also need surgery for a left hamate bone injury. The Mets said that he should be good for opening day, though. So not sure the difference there between Lindor's injury and Jackson Holliday's injury, because you have one that says should be good for opening day, one that says will not be ready for opening day. So not sure there. But those are some injuries as well that have been announced by their respective teams. Obviously, Spencer Schwellenbach was a big one to see land on the 60-day IL because he was kind of one of those breakout candidates for a really good 2026. And now he won't be, pitching much this year probably. I mean, when you look through his stuff. And there's other guys as well that I didn't mention here. Bowden Francis from the Blue Jays. He has Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out for the 2026 season. A guy like Lourdes Gurriel Jr., if you remember, he had his torn ACL. Not sure when we'll see him this year. But yeah, Schwellenbach, no questionable timetable for his return. There's nothing there. We know Ha-Seong Kim with the hand surgery. He's out for about 4 to 5 months. We saw that from the Braves. So yeah, a lot of injuries already for a lot of guys, some of which, when you go through an IL list here, you'll see them say projected opening day roster. They're ready to go, blah, blah, blah. Some will say, yeah, you're probably going to land on the injured list, but, we're not sure yet because it's obviously not announced. But, yeah, a lot of injuries already. which, will make up for kind of who's left in a way, but we'll get to the who's left in a second here. For now, one thing to mention is that Nicholas Castellanos is no longer a member of the Philadelphia Phillies. That is right, he was released. As pitchers and catchers reporting, some players obviously joining camp as well. The Phillies told Castellanos not to report to camp, and that in the coming days he was either going to be traded or released. After shopping him around a little bit, they decided to just cut the losses and release Nicholas Castellanos, who was entering the last of a 5-year, $100 million deal that he signed with the Phillies. He will get paid the full $20 million that he would have been earning this year anyways. Gotta be honest, kind of not surprised, but also it still is a little bit surprising when you look at his numbers. Obviously, last year, really tough year for him overall, both on and even some off-the-field stuff. And a little handwritten note that he, wrote, took a picture of, and posted onto his socials, talking, thanking the Phillies and his teammates, the fans, all that stuff. He also went on to address the incident in Miami that happened, which, if you're not aware, at one point was taken out of the game. Went up to Rob Thompson. There was some heated words exchanged, even more heated words exchanged after the game as well. And you can kind of just tell the relationship was a little bit broken. They kind of mended it, but obviously, when you have that kind of heated exchange, it's hard to kind of just fully get past it. And we're not saying that that's the reason why he was cut, because obviously his numbers definitely have gone down since his All-Star in 2023. That was kind of his best year with the Phillies. Overall, across the 4-year stint that he had, 602 games played, he had 599 hits, a 260 batting average, a 732 OPS, and 82 home runs. Nothing crazy, but nothing worth $100 million either. Of course, when you look at his career as a whole, he's had some really impressive numbers. Again, 2-time All-Star and a Silver Slugger. Of course, that All-Star and Silver Slugger came in 2021 with the Reds, which earned him the $100 million contract anyways. But across 13 years, most with the Tigers, some with Philly, the Reds, and even that half a year in Chicago, which really was the best Nick Castellanos we have ever seen. I loved 2019 Cubs Nick Castellanos. But across his entire career, he's got 1,688 games. He's got 208 doubles, 104 home runs. I don't know what I'm saying right now. 274 batting average, a 783 OPS. Decent numbers, again. Decent numbers to earn a contract again, I should say. He's going to be 34 years old. And I don't think last year was that bad, obviously, for Philly standards, and by his own, really, definitely a tough year. But, there's a lot of teams that I think could benefit from having Nick Castellanos into the clubhouse this year and help them in their rosters. I think Nicholas Castellanos brings a vibe to teams that, sometimes maybe not the best, but he definitely is a team player, brings the team together. He, puts other players first before himself. There's a lot to like about Nicholas Castellanos, so I think he'll still find a job somewhere. Obviously, not a lot of time to do so. And if you're thinking no one's going to trade for him, so why would they sign him? Well, no one wants to give up something for Nicholas Castellanos, but you're not going to be giving up much because you can sign him to a league minimum contract, even a minor league deal. He's still going to be getting paid the $20 million from Philly, and you get to have what is a really good ball player who can go out there still and hit 15 plus home runs for you, maybe have an OPS of 750 or something. So there's definitely a world out there where Nicholas Castellanos will find a team to take him on. And I think it could happen sooner than you expect because, there are teams that could use a guy like Castellanos. I hope he finds himself a deal here. But yeah, Phillies no longer with him on the team. So I'm not Philly fans. Let me know if you're happy or sad about that. I would be upset. I kind of think Nicholas Castellanos was a fan favorite kind of guy here, but that's just for me. Moving on here, we have to talk a little bit of sad news that occurred as Terrance Gore was announced that he had passed away. Really unfortunate. Really, really sad here. Terrance Gore, of course, only born in 1991. Spent time with the Royals, year with the Cubs, year with the Mets, year with the Dodgers. When you look at his numbers for the regular season, nothing stands out. He played in 112 games. He had, 16 career hits, never hit a career home run, 216 batting average, a 580 OPS, nothing outstanding. But if you do not remember, he is a huge part in the postseason, in the playoffs specifically, not for what he does, for what he can do, which is basically be a pinch runner, stolen base kind of guy. Across his time in the postseason, he is a two-time World Series champion. Not a lot of guys can say that, especially a guy like Terrance Gore, where his numbers aren't anything crazy. 11 games, he has 2 at-bats. He has scored 3 runs and 5 stolen bases. That is what Terrance Gore does. He's on the roster because he was fast. Like I said, won the World Series with the Royals in 2015, won the World Series with the Braves in 2021. He got World Series rings and he's played in 5 games. It was definitely a very crazy thing. He didn't even play a regular season game with the Braves that year in 2021, but still found a way to win the World Series with them. Two-time World Series winner. His position listed on Baseball Reference is pinch runner. That's the position he played. And he played a great role, died way too early, so rest in peace to Royals and other teams paying tribute as well to a great runner and a 2-time World Series champion. So that's where that is there. Moving on here, some things to note about. Wanted to mention, I should say, it was announced the Marlins have new teal uniforms for their home Sundays, and the Tigers also shut off 2 new alternate jerseys as well, one that's black and one that's orange. And I gotta say, all 3 of these jerseys are absolutely phenomenal. I would love to have jerseys of all 3 of these. I think the teal, the Marlins teal, they're paying tribute to some of those old teams and their 2 World Series rings. I think those are great looking jerseys. And I gotta say the Tigers, I think the orange one, if they kind of do what Baltimore is doing with orange and orange pants as well, I think that would look really cool. But even the black, if you have a full black uniform with the little bit of the orange highlights on it, I think it would be great. We've only seen the jerseys thus far, I've only seen the jerseys thus far, but all 3 of these jerseys, very going to be good to see entering 2026. Very be good to see. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm making up a lot of words here as we go along. Some other some other news here was that NBC Sports, of course, they are getting some broadcasting rights this year. And they're going to have a analyst booth here that includes Clayton Kershaw, Joey Votto, and Anthony Rizzo, which I gotta say, that rallies Ortiz, Jeter, and Alex Rodriguez. I'm very excited to see what these 3 will be talking about, how they'll be presenting themselves. Of course, Joey Votto, one of my all-time favorite players. So really looking forward to seeing him back, even if it is as an analyst. Of course, NBC Sports, they have the rights to the Wild Card series as well as some regular season games. So we'll be seeing these 3 throughout. I'm not sure if they've announced the 4th guy, kind of like the main guy, main broadcast guy, but Kershaw, Votto, and Rizzo, 3 great players. Very happy to see them going from there. Kershaw just finished a World Series ring with the Dodgers, and now he's going to be on NBC Sports. So good for Kershaw, great for Rizzo. I'm very happy for Joey Votto to see him back as well. So this is going to be very fun. Last thing to go over. Yes, we're kind of at the end of the episode here. Just one last thing to go over. As I've mentioned a couple times, spring training is back. We're here. The games start next week. We're 3 weeks away from the World Baseball Classic. We're a month and a half from regular season baseball. So we are here. It is the springtime, but there are still free agents available. There are still guys that can help your team. And I'm going to be going over some of them here. The list is about 79, 80 guys still available. Obviously, Nick Castellanos just joined the free agent pool after being released. But guys like Starling Marte, Lucas Giolito, Michael Conforto, Rhys Hoskins, Max Scherzer. Does he sign back with Detroit? I don't know. Does he go to Washington? I think he should go to Washington. That would be fun. For me, the big name that's still available, Zach Gallen. No idea why he's still available. He is a huge pitcher. Yes, he had a really tough last year, but I mean, he was on some really good Diamondbacks years that he had. Maybe it's because the qualifying offer is attached to him, and players and a team doesn't want to lose a draft pick to get Gallen. I don't know, but he's still available. Tyler Anderson, Mitch Garver is a backup catcher potentially. Nathaniel Lau, Patrick Corbin, Christian Vasquez, Wade Miley, Luis Rengifo, Nestor Cortez, Jesse Winker, Zach Littell, Michael Kopech, Randall Grichuk, Andrew McCutcheon, Griffin Canning, Tommy Pham. Like, there are a lot of notable names here still available for guys to pick up. You know, Frankie Montas, not sure if I mentioned him. Rhys Hoskins, same thing. Like, there are still some notable names here. For me, if I was going to expect one guy still to be signed, it is Zach Gallen, though. I think a team needs to sign Zach Gallen. A team like Baltimore could go out and get Zach Gallen still. A team, you know, that needs some pitching help. Like, Zach Gallen's a really good guy, guys. Like, I don't know why he's still unsigned here. Again, pitchers and catchers have reported. They're all working out probably right now as we speak. And, you know, Zach Gallen deserves a team. Get someone sign Zach Gallen. He's very good. But yeah, those are all the players still left on the free agency market. We'll see what happens now throughout the weekend. Obviously, we'll now have baseball, so the episodes are going to start to look a little bit different here. We got our DOPs coming up, etc. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our episode here today. I got to be honest, a lot shorter of an episode than I thought. I think we did a really good job at kind of limiting all the news here into, you know, about 45 minutes or so. Yeah, lots of one-year deals. Verlander back with the Tigers. A lot of check marks. A lot of things that I'm happy about from this episode. And again, baseball is back better than ever. Spring just underway here. And again, like I said, next week, we'll be watching baseball games. We'll be watching spring training baseball games. That is incredible. So happy, so excited for all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, buddy, so much. And I will see you on the next time.